Hello viewers, today I'm working on a 2024 Honda Accord hybrid with the 2-liter engine, and today we are going to be doing an oil change service. Welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel. And so let's get started now on the oil change. So before we start, we are just going to have a look at the oil level. It's not all the way full. It's about 3/4. Now this customer is doing 16,000 kilometers oil change intervals. Now I don't recommend to wait that long to change your oil. It's not good. That's going to damage the engine over time. Even though that this vehicle is a hybrid vehicle, so it's integrated with the electric motor. So 16,000 kilometers is far too long to wait until you get the oil change. I would recommend 8,000 kilometers or less, or every 3 to 6 months, or 4 to 6 months, depending on the driving conditions. So I have the key here. Now if you see, I can turn the ignition to on, but the engine is off. You just want to make sure that it does not say ready on the dash. So make sure it does not say that it's ready, because if it says that it's ready, it means that the hybrid motor is already running and that the engine can start at any time. You want to make sure that the ignition is completely off before you start draining the oil, because if you drain the oil and the motor is ready, the hybrid motor is ready, then it's possible that the engine can start at any time. So you want to be careful. So I'm just going to turn the ignition off. I'm going to put the key outside the vehicle just for safety reasons. You don't have to do this, but I just do it just for safety. So now I took the key out of the vehicle for safety reasons. However, you don't have to. I just did that so that the engine does not start. So we're just going to remove the dipstick, open up the filler cap, wipe this down a little bit. Just leave it there for now, and we are going to raise the vehicle. So now I'm just underneath the vehicle. I place a jack stand here, over here, and one in the back here on where the subframe is. You can place the jack stands anywhere on a solid piece of metal, as long as you don't damage anything. So here they have like a something like a tow hook or something here, so you can place the jack stands safely here, so there shouldn't be a problem. And the same thing on this side. This side says R for right, and the other side says L for left. So anyhow, we are going to remove the skid plate or pan or whatever, the cover. You will need a number 3 a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead or slotted screwdriver to remove the screws so you can gain access. We're just going to remove all of the screws. This one is a number 3 Phillips. The customer has stated that this is his first oil change service, so I'm making you guys aware of that. And again, I do not recommend doing 16,000 kilometer or 10,000 mile oil changes. It's far too long. We're gonna remove all of the flathead screws now. Usually just a pop off. After I'm done, I'm probably going to put a tiny bit of grease here because you can see it's already corroding. So we are going to do the same for the rest of these screws. Typically, you just need to turn them a quarter turn and then they pop out. Then we're going to go to the other side. I think you turn them like a quarter turn or something, and then they pop out. The Phillips screws in the back. There's 2 more. I'm not a big fan of these screws that Honda put on their vehicles. These just takes longer to service. Make sure you lubricate these screws with something, because often they will seize up with time if you don't put anything. So make sure you put some kind of grease or spray so that you prevent them from corroding. Otherwise, you may not be able to get these out. So now we're going to slide this out just like that, and you should be able to gain access now to the oil pan and the oil filter. You can see all this salt corrosion here on the casing, engine and transmission casing. A lot of I guess, I don't know on what you call it, salt or something. So anyhow, we have access to the oil pan and the oil filter right here, and the typical 17 millimeter drain plug. This is a 17. Your typical Honda drain plug. Always a 17. Drain the oil. Just make sure you have a drain pan to catch everything. That's your 16,000 kilometer oil change interval right there. And also don't forget to change the drain gasket. So I'm going to be replacing this. I have an aftermarket drain gasket that I typically use on Hondas. I don't have the part number for the Honda drain gasket, but this part number for the one that I'm using is 2153. Now, I'm not sure if you will be able to find it. I have a supplier that I deal with, so they have their own part numbers. So here's the new one. Just going to put the new one just like this. I'm just waiting for the oil to drain out. So now the oil has drained out. It's just it's dripping now. So I'm going to reinstall the drain plug. Just tying this up snug. It doesn't need to be extremely tight. You don't want to tighten it too much. The torque spec is usually a 30 foot-pounds on these. So the torque spec is 30 foot-pounds. You don't want to tighten this up too much. I've seen some people, they over tighten this and then they crack the oil pan, and you're going to end up replacing the oil pan. And this is an aluminum oil pan, so you want to be extremely careful. So it's labeled on the oil pan, engine oil. So now we're going to loosen up the oil filter. This is just an oil filter removal tool with a long extension and a 3/8 ratchet. So I got it loose now. I have the jack stand in the way, so I'm probably going to grab something to catch the oil. So we're going to loosen up the oil filter. And catch that oil. We're just going to wipe the surface on the housing just to clean off any dirt or debris that may be on there. Give it a good wipe. So now I'm just using an aftermarket oil filter. It doesn't have to be a Honda genuine oil filter if you're not able to get one from the dealership. This is a Motorcraft Ford oil filter. I haven't had any issues with these, and this is what I normally carry in stock. So I usually use the Motorcraft Ford oil filters. It's not a big deal, but I know that some people, they may complain in the comments, but This is what I have in stock. So this is what I'm going to use. The part number for this one is FL816. It's okay to use these oil filters. So, and, as a matter of fact, I found that the Ford filters, they work a lot better uh, compared to the other oil filters. The part numbers will be interchangeable for the aftermarket ones. Usually it's 4610 or 4612, and they'll also have an interchange number 7317. I'll put everything up on the screen for you guys to see. So anyhow, make sure you lubricate the gasket with new engine oil. Make sure that the old gasket is not stuck on the engine. And also just make sure that the oil filter is that the gasket is still on the old oil filter. So I'm going to install the new oil filter. Some of the aftermarket ones may have a slightly smaller oil filter than the genuine stuff, but it's not too big of a deal. So we're going to wipe this down. Just turn this until it's snug and tight. You don't want to overdo it. And before I reinstall everything, I'm going to clean everything down with brake cleaner, and we're going to fill it up with oil and start the engine afterwards. And then we are going to double check for leaks, and then afterwards we are going to install the cover last. Just gonna spray everything down. If you're looking for the part number for the genuine Honda, is A32791. So now we are going to fill the engine up with oil. This takes 0.20. So I'm not sure as to how much this engine takes, because I do not have access to the service information at the moment, because at the time of this video, this vehicle is still too new. So I'm not able to obtain service information at this particular time. I believe this may be roughly about 4.5 liters, but I'm not sure. We'll try to put maybe 4 to 4.5, and then we'll check the oil level afterwards. So I'm just using 0.20. You can use any 0.20 approved oil as long as it meets the specifications. So we're probably gonna put like 4.5 liters, and then we are going to check the oil level afterwards. Now, this customer purchased this vehicle brand new, and so I recommend to check your oil level at roughly 1,000 kilometers or 1,600 kilometers. If you live in the US, you'll go by miles. So 1,000 miles or 1,000 kilometers. So to check your oil level, because when the engine is new from assembly, the piston rings, it takes some time for the piston rings to wear in and to seat in properly. So the first 1,000 kilometers or so, the engine, it may burn a tiny amount of oil, probably a quarter or half a liter or so, depending on the engine. So it's a good idea to check the oil level when the engine is new. Probably to check it every fill up or every 500 kilometers or so, and just to make sure that the oil level does not get low. And so usually you should change your oil. The first oil change should be at roughly maybe 1,000 kilometers or 1,600 kilometers. Usually anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 kilometers, because usually there's some leftover bearing material from the wear and tear and other stuff, other components inside the engine. So there's a lot of wear and tear when the engine is new, because the engine is still is breaking in. So they typically have the break-in oil. So it's good to change it early. You don't want to wait too long to have the oil change. You want to make sure that you change the oil early at the first oil change, because it's not good for the engine. So it's best to follow those procedures. So I'm going to take this out now. I believe that's about 4.5 liters. I'm going to wipe the oil cap. I'll also wipe the filler neck on the engine itself. Just having a look at the oil level. The vehicle is not yet on the ground, so we still have to confirm the oil level afterwards. I'm probably going to try to start it briefly just to verify for any leaks, and then I will reinstall the reinstall the cover from underneath. So with this oil filter and everything, I measured close to a 4.25 or 4.5 liters, almost. I put roughly a 4.5 to 4.75 liters in the engine. So now I'm just trying to start the engine now to get the engine to run, and hitting down on the gas pedal. So now at this particular moment, I'm not able to get the engine to start while the vehicle is stationary. However, I do know that there's a way, but the customer is waiting for this vehicle at the moment, so I will need to put everything back together, and I will just have a look at the oil level after the vehicle is on the ground. So now we're just going to reinstall. We're gonna reinstall the engine cover. And we'll need to line everything up. Just make sure that they're lined up on the two plastic pieces here that holds the cover in place. Now we're just going to put a little bit of grease on the screws so that they don't corrode as much. You can use any kind of chassis or wheel bearing grease of some sort. So the cover is reinstalled. Everything is all good to go. Just make sure everything is all tight, and then we are going to drop the vehicle down. So I just went for a short brisk down the road and back just to get the engine to start. So now I just had a look at the oil level. Just making sure that the oil level is okay. I put the 4.5 liters. So we're going to reset the maintenance light. So you'll have to go on the dash on the center console here, the screen, vehicle settings, maintenance info, and right here, reset selected items. And then you can put the all due items and reset. It says to wait, and you see oil life is 100% now. And you can use the thumb roll, the a button. I'm not sure on what you call it, just to go through and to see the oil life on maintenance, and to press it, and it's at 100% now. So that's it. That concludes the oil change service on this vehicle. I did have to drive this vehicle down the street to get the engine to start because it's a hybrid. I'm pretty sure that there's a way to start the motor, but I was having a hard time because of lack of service information at this time, because I don't have access to service information for the newer vehicles right now. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and take care.